Alright YouTube, so we are back of course to talk about some Final Fantasy VII Remake, and today we are back with a relatively surprising video. So yesterday we discussed the upcoming Square Enix Presents, which is going to be like a live stream gaming event that Square Enix is going to start doing to kind of talk about and discuss their upcoming video games for the year. And in that video we kind of speculated, maybe FF7 will be there in some capacity, whether they want to just show some trailers again, talk about the Yuffie DLC, maybe there's be some updates for First Soldier or Ever Crisis, whatever. That's what we speculated, but it seemed a little far-fetched, right? Other than maybe them just wanting to show the trailers again. Turns out, not long after my video was uploaded, it was revealed that PlayStation is going to hold an event later this month called Play, dedicated to just 2 games. And one of them just so happens to be Final Fantasy VII Remake. Intergrade specifically. Now, I say later this month, but it's happening on the 21st, which is just 3 days after that Square Enix Presents event, so it's really not that far away. It's just barely over a week. So there are just several things about this that I find to be a bit interesting. For one, they're holding an event specifically for just 2 games, which is kind of odd. I don't know if I've ever seen that happen before. But one of them is a PlayStation exclusive game, or at least quote-unquote timed exclusive. The other one, Resident Evil 8, or Resident Evil Village, however you want to call it, is a game that's coming out and launching on every platform at the same time. So it's kind of weird that they're having that game be at a PlayStation-specific event, though it's going to come out everywhere. And maybe there's going to be some incentive to play it on like PlayStation 4 or 5, like maybe there's exclusive content or something, I'm not entirely sure. I just thought that was kind of interesting. The other obvious thing here is that Intergrade, Yuffie DLC aside, is just an enhanced version of a PS4 game that's almost a year old, right? Don't get me wrong, Episode Yuffie is a big part of Intergrade. Like, if you were to buy it brand new, whether that's physical or digital, you get the Yuffie DLC with it. That's just a part of the price tag for Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade for PS5. But a lot of people are probably going to upgrade it for free, right, and then just buy the DLC separate. Maybe some people will rebuy it again, just like physically, just to have it in their collection. So it makes me kind of wonder how the hell Intergrade is going to be a part of this showcase. It's an hour-long event dedicated to 2 specific games, but again, outside of the Yuffie DLC, this is essentially just like a remaster of Remake, right? It just has enhanced visuals and a little bit of, 60 FPS, 4K resolution, all that other bullshit. Like, what are they going to fill the time with exactly? I'm going to assume like 30 minutes dedicated to each game, right? So are they going to fill 30 minutes just like showing more gameplay? Is it going to be like a new trailer, a new story-driven trailer, kind of get a better idea of what the story is for this episode? I don't mean to sound negative if that's how I'm coming across in the video. I'm just a bit confused. Like if this was Play featuring Resident Evil Village and Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, then I fucking get it. Yeah, let's talk about that bitch for 30 minutes. Like when I see this, what it makes me think of is like when Skyrim Special Edition, for example, got revealed. I haven't talked about Skyrim in forever. Like, can you imagine if Bethesda had like a 30-minute showcase talking about that, despite it just being enhanced visuals, all the DLC, and mod support? Like, damn, I covered it in 5 seconds. So what it makes me think is that they're probably going to talk for the most part about the Yuffie DLC. Maybe they'll cover some story elements or some new gameplay mechanics, because Yuffie plays differently than Cloud does. The fact that she can, break boxes from afar and stuff like that. The way she can kind of jump and flip around the world. Different to Cloud, despite him actually being able to do that physically if he wanted to, but he just doesn't for some reason. And I imagine they're going to go a bit more in depth on the somewhat newer combat system, because you can control Yuffie, but you can't control Sonon, but you can give him commands, so he works a little bit like Red 13, but also more like a summon when it came to Remake. It's not confusing, but it's a little weird. Actually, I haven't mentioned this at all in a video yet, but like, why can't we control him? Like, what was the actual reason? Like, they've spent all this time on this DLC. He's going to work pretty much like Sid works, right? He uses a polearm, so why can't we just control him and get an idea of how Sid's going to work later on? I just thought that was kind of weird. And actually, as I think about it some more, part of this event, even though it's supposed to be for Intergrade, might be dedicated to talking about Remake itself coming to other platforms. Because while Intergrade is specific to the PS5 currently, the base game exclusivity is ending on April 10th. And this event's actually taking place like almost exactly 3 weeks before the exclusivity ends. We do know on the Remake side of things that Yoshinori Kitase is going to be there. There's also 2 other people they mentioned, but I don't actually recognize their names. So it'll definitely be interesting to tune into this and kind of see what Kitase talks about. Here's the thing, man. I've been kind of joking and bashing this throughout the video, but I'm more so talking about just the enhanced version of Remake being at this event. The Yuffie DLC itself is obviously going to be very important. As I said, like, the Yuffie DLC Intergrade itself, that's the name is like the bridge between Part 1 and Part 2. So whatever happens within this DLC, the fact that it's supposed to be bridging these games together has to have some pretty important story stuff in it, whatever that might be. And we haven't really talked about that yet in the video, but this, off the top of my head, what it makes me think of is if it's bridging the games together, it has to be either in regards to the ending of Remake, whatever the hell all that is, maybe we get some more development on that, or it's about the materia that she's after, whether that is proto-materia, which I've heard speculated, huge materia, or something brand new. I've also seen some people speculate that, of course, something we've talked about for a while, that maybe Yuffie will be the one to, like, steal our group's materia and stuff like that to make us kind of, quote-unquote, restart at the beginning of Part 2, and that could be something else, too. That could be part of the bridge between the games. We might do a dedicated video about that at some point if you guys have any other ideas for what like the bridge between part 1 and part 2 could be in regards to integrating this episode for Yuffie. But other than dudes, that's pretty much the video. So this event is happening on March 21st, 8 p.m. Japan time, so calculate, according to your time zone if you want to watch this. I do hope with this event, though, since they are dedicating, half or part of this event to Remake Intergrade, that we get something new. I imagine a good portion of it's going to be kind of going over the stuff that we already know and kind of Katase talking about, like, the behind the scenes or something like that. But I do hope we get, like, a new trailer or something, whether that's a gameplay trailer or, more specifically, a story-driven trailer, so that we kind of get a better idea of what exactly is going on within the DLC. Other than videos, that's the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you guys aren't new. We'll save daily more Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade content. Turn on notifications. Follow me on Twitter, dashingdavidbusiness. I'm a Discord. Links to most notebooks are in the description and in the outro. Later, guys.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Rogaine, or leave it like Cobain.